Hello, hello. How y'all doing? Turned on the music a little bit for me. Um, Let me know if that music is good volume. Pointing down because I'm changing it right down there. How y'all doing? Happy Friday. A little bit of a gloomy, rainy day around my parts, but making the best of it as we can. Today we are going to continue doing some more Blender. I'm gonna say we YOLO'd Blender last week, I guess. I had used it a little bit in the past, and I've watched a few people do streams on sort of the initial figuring out keyboard shortcuts and such, doing small little models. And we got a little model. It wasn't great. It was more of an organic figure person looking thing. Which isn't easy to do in Blender. I think the more inanimate objects are more beginner friendly. So I think that's probably what we're gonna do more today. Make smaller pieces and see if we can get them into our React 3 fibers scene, which I think should. Let's see if I actually have it on here. I think I put it on everything. Nope. I typed in a command and I've got commands turned off on the sidebar right there, so you're not gonna see it if you're watching the replay here. But so let's switch over. Got Blender up already. I'll make this just a smidge smaller. So this is just from scratch, the default template, and it drops in a cube. It puts that cube at 0, 0, 0, which is effectively the middle of the 3D scene. 0, 0, 0, 0 being the X, Y, and Z coordinates. You can see up in the top here, they've got a X, Y, and Z labeled. The red and the green lines representing X and Y, respectively. So I think what we're gonna do, I've got a background in structural engineering actually, and I kind of think I want to do sort of like steel pieces or steel structures. They should be easy to draw, and you just do an extrusion to get the full thing, and then we could potentially bring that into our React 3 fiber scene here. Guess I need to move that, and we can go. We'll go ahead and open our VS Code window, which opened up on a different monitor. Come on down. There we go. So this is our React 3 fiber scene that we've kind of been working on over the past few, I guess, past few months at this point, not even streams. And that actually reminds me, can I do, I'm gonna go into studio mode here. Why isn't my 3D overlay working? Got the test overlay. Oh yeah, I might have not actually ever gotten that to I'm still working off a localhost. So that's definitely why it wasn't working before. So it is still running off of localhost. Trying to make this window a bit smaller. Localhost being, that is as well, right? Test overlay. Yes. Don't need the test overlay on right now. Okay, so localhost being this over here. When we start up our server, we start it as a service running locally on our machine, and attached to that, we can have a port, and that's how we can also technically externally, but within the system, we can access the service via the designation of localhost and the port. So now that I've got it started up, we should be able to do. Let's go ahead and just refresh it just to make certain. Our 3D stuff should now work. Maybe not. What do we have going on here? Connected. Do y'all see the flashing of the camera here? Did I move record or something? Or is that just me? Maybe it's just me. It's odd though. Okay, so it shows up in there. It's not showing up in our overlay. So what is going on that our overlay is not working? Localhost 1234 channel. Let's go ahead and just refresh the cache. And we'll try it one more time. Interesting. Sure, let's shut it down when it's not visible. When it becomes active, yeah. Foxrow, hey, how are you doing? I'm trying to get I seem to have broken my 3D overlay here, and I was trying to figure out what I broke. It's working. So this is it's pulling it in via localhost right now. It's running in the browser, and it works there, but it's not working there. So I was trying to deal with that quick, but we might end up just ignoring it for right now. Let's go ahead and just wonder if something just expired or something. Some OBS deal, kind of. So OBS, for anybody else watching, OBS is the software that I use and is pretty common for streaming. It stands for Open Broadcast Studio, I think it is, OBS. Open Broadcaster Software. And it has, one of the ways you can build a scene is through a browser source. So you can literally give it a URL. Just fill in a random value there. Yeah, okay, login authentication failed. I wonder if that's the piece that I broke. Because that seems to work fine. That's probably what I broke. I wonder if my key expired too or something. Here, I try to fix that. So we can do HTML or anything like in the browser with the version of Chrome that's compatible with the version of Chrome that OBS embeds. And that means we can basically do a whole web page and bring it in and have it as an overlay. Let's see if I can grab a new code real quick. I'm assuming that the one that I have in there just expired. Oh, here. Let's... I guess I'm not super worried about that for right now. Let's just check it here. 3D. There we go. Yep, so that's definitely it. So what's fun is it supports anything that we can do in the browser. The browser, especially the more recent versions, of which OBS has updated to Chrome 97, I think it was, a few months back. So it was stuck on a real old version, like 73 or something. So when that updated, I was like, okay, I think it's time to play around with this. So what we can do is we can use WebGL and anything that renders WebGL, and we can put it as an overlay through this browser source in OBS, which means we can make a 3D model in Blender, export it as a GLTF, and import it into a React 3 fibers scene, which is a renderer built, or a component library built on top of React that renders three.js scenes, three.js being a library that helps do WebGL. So we can get 3D dynamically done in our overlay. So if you, it should be unlocked for anybody if you type in, I think some of the channel point redemptions work too, but those I might need the password in there. But right now, if you just type in 3D and anything, it should show up. Should show up right there. Okay, yep, I commented that out for right now. So I wasn't even pulling in the password. So the password might actually be good. Ta-da! Okay, it's. I'm happy that that works at least. Okay, so if I don't set it, it should be that. Okay, so that should be good. So now, if I've got it set right with the password, nothing. I don't know. I'll have to deal with that later. I was intending to fix that this week, but it's been a week. So let's do some Blender things real quick. I want to do a model and do some rigging, which means we can make like a person and add animations to them. And those animations we can then trigger through commands or as part of our scene. But I don't think we're going to do the rigging and then animation stuff today. But I kind of wanted to just get some assets going and export them and pull them into the scene. Because we could also do physics things, which is something I would also be interested in playing around with. So let's start off with, I still need to figure out these shortcuts. And I kind of want to get into the NURBS, which we didn't last time. NURBS surface cylinder. But I think what we're going to do is start off with a plane that we can edit and then we can extrude it. So we've got these are the selection modes up here. We are currently in vertex selection mode, so it's going to allow us to pick all the points in the corners here. We want to take this plane And I think what I'm going to do is basically a steel beam. And we can then we can use that steel beam and have like multiple copies of it. And I don't know if we'll be able to adjust the extrusion. So if we just make a object that is X, well, X isn't a great. If we just make it a value, insert value here, tall, can we change that once we get into our scene? That I'm unsure of. It would be nice if we only had a couple assets so we could just extend and tweak in that way, but that's something we'll have to figure out. So if we're just trying to get a beam going, the technical term is a W flange, which looks more like an H. So basically we want to try making an H out of this and then do an extrusion. And here, so extrude region would be the thing that we would use. So we would do, could select the face, and we do an extrusion. And if we pull it up, that's what we're going to end up doing. So if we make our shape in 2D, then we can just extrude it. So I think I want to select the edges. So I've got edge selection on, and we got that edge selected. And we want to like add additional points in here. Rip polygons. Oh, I want to look at edges. Bevel, extrude, subdivide. So if we do subdivide, number of cuts. So we want to take this vertex and we want to do we're going to have 2 points kind of in the middle of the H, and then we're coming around to, or coming to the edge of a round. I guess we could just do a straight cut. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we should have, if we go into vertex selection, here, might be a little bit hard to see on the stream. But we've got, is there any way I can make these? Here, let's go into wireframe. You can maybe see a little bit better there. Now we've got a bunch of pieces here. So what we can do then, and that kind of makes me wonder, can we draw like just a corner of it and do a mirror thing? I think I'm actually going to do that. I'm actually more curious about doing that. So let's actually undo our subdivide. Okay. Let's take, we're in edge selection mode. Let's take this and we will do a move, and we want to move it here. And we want to automatic constraint. Ooh. I thought there was like a snap to, here we go, move. Let's move it to, whoop. Okay, interesting. So what would that be then? So if we do it to 0, is it going to put it literally in the middle? Yep, there we go. So then if we do this and we move this in, let's do 0 meters. Whoop. Yeah, that's what we wanted to do, right? 0 meters. Interesting. So is the move based off of, so if we do this, I don't know if this is like updating based off of previous position. There we go. Interesting. So now we got a corner. We've got a plane just in this corner. Do we got extra? Oh, we do. Let's delete those edges. Delete. So we do have extra edges in here. Maybe. I mean, that's fine, actually. I think I actually do kind of want to have those. Okay, so we've got, if we go back to solid, we should have, I guess we don't, fill. Okay. Now we have a face. Now we should be able to just move these vertices. We're going to go into vertex. So we should be able to select this one, and we're going to move it. And we'll do something like -0.8. Nope. It's not quite enough. We'll do -0.9. And this one is going to also be a -0.9. But we're also going to be adjusting the, and when we're mirroring it, this is going to be the edge. We're going to mirror around this little circle here. So we're going to have it mirror this way and this way. So this we're basically multiplying this by 4. So this sliver here is actually going to be twice as thick as we see it right now. So I'm actually going to bump that up to, because it's pretty thick right now, I'm going to bump that up to 975. It'll make it look skinny, but then it's going to be 0.5 meters. And we're going to bump that to be 0.75. Looks like we're getting a odd rendering. Is that a rendering bug there? Do we have a completely separate face? Maybe not. Oh, okay. So we actually have, multiple vertices here. And that's why we're getting this weird overlap. So if we go into vertex, we can take this vertex. We want that vertex to go away. Just delete vertex. And we lost, because there's an edge here, I think. Oh. So we lost our edge here. Can we add an edge? We might be able to do a fill. So if we grab all the edges here, you can see we've lost that edge there. But if we just do a fill, it fills it in. And I should look at this, that right there. I think that's something that I need to pay attention to more, especially when we're doing this kind of stuff. So if I select this vertex, you can do a transform here, but we want to see its position in space. So render properties, output properties. Object properties. So, material, object data. So if we select this, can we see the location attributes? Mirror, rendering, scene information, scene collection. Instance offset. I'm not sure what the instance offset does, but I think that's probably something we want to kind of keep in mind here. I'm not sure if this is a move to or if it's a move from. So like if we're trying to line these up, 0 and 0, it seems like it's a move, like it's a delta move. We are asking it to move it that value that we're entering. Yeah, I'm not sure why it got off just slightly. I think we're just going to eyeball it because honestly, I don't think it's going to matter that much of a difference. So half of that is maybe 7.5. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so we've got this. We want to then move this one over. And we're going to move it over maybe 0.6. So 5, 6, 5. Two, 5. That might be fine. And then we'll move this one, and that should give us something that we can mirror. Yeah, see, it's definitely not relative proportional editing. I want to do it based off of the global. That's gonna get it done, but I don't know that I particularly like that. All right, so if we've got this plane now, we want to be able to mirror it, and there is a, I think there's a mirror in here somewhere, but I don't know that that's the mirror that I'm expecting. So if we would take this, we basically want to make 4 copies of it and merge it all together. So I don't see anything over here. Smooth, spin. I mean, technically it's spin. Extrude, selected vertices in a circle around the cursor. I don't know that that's gonna, we need a mirror. So we need to do this. And then we needed to do this. rotate, transform, insert faces. Where was that insert faces? Yeah, so there's shortcuts. Insert. Oh, inset, not insert. Inset. So if we do object mode, do we have any other options? Convert, collection, asset, parent. We don't seem to have additional things that we can do over here. Okay, so transform lets us do some scaling and modifying of it. Mirror. Okay. Mirror selected items around one or more axes. There we go. Okay. So if we do interactive mirror, so now you can see how we're mirroring it. And that's just a straight mirror. It doesn't actually copy. So like we can do that and it's going to mirror it that way. So what we can do, I think, is we'll copy and we'll do paste 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, too many. Delete you. And then what we can then end up doing is joining them all together. So we can do something like that. Mirror y local, and then mirror this one, y local, x local. Oh, I did z, didn't I? There we go. So now we've got 4 planes and we've got them all like that. And that's kind of our beam right here. So now if we take these objects and we join them together, join. Now we have one plane in the shape that we want. And now we can extrude it. It does still have a gap there. Like it didn't. You can actually still see how it's separate pieces, but I don't know that I'm too worried about that. All right, here's our extrude. So this is our column or beam, I guess. It does look like it's doing multiple. If we do multiple extrusions. Oh, not fill. Yep. So every time we do it, it is doing multiple extrusions. So we're going to do 1 and we're just going to drag it all the way up. There we go. So now we have a piece. You can see that it is still cut. If we do a selection of just this, oh, that's a face selection. Object. Okay, so it is all one object. You still can see the separate pieces when you're in the edit mode, but that's fine. So let's go ahead and we'll save this. Nice. We'll go here. We're going to make a new folder called structure. And we're going to call it the technical term. W flange, they can either be beams or columns or anything in between. We're going to go ahead and save that. And then let's grab GLTF from there. So there is a couple of things that we can modify when we're doing this. So you can see we can do animations. So when we do an animation in Blender, when we export a GLTF, we can get the animations with. And I just realized I didn't turn on my key light. It's pretty dark today. I guess I probably don't need it much, but we can do animations. There's other options that we have for geometry, including materials. So we'll have to see how the material stuff comes out. Which we could actually try that. Let's see if we can set a material and see if that comes through. So there's texture properties, and you can use images. Enter wood. Interesting. So there's a texture brush. Yeah, I have no idea how the... Oh, okay. So we've got a texture painting. Now what is this view? So we're in texture paint, view. I'm not sure why I can't see that element over there. Soften, smear, clone, fill. So I'm fine doing a fill. If we do green, missing materials, textures detected. So do we need to draw a texture first, I guess? Missing materials, textures detected. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, do we need to do, okay, so if we do I guess let's do base color. The color can be kind of want like maybe something like this. With hue, saturation, value. Maybe something like that. Probably darker than I want it to be, honestly. Ooh, okay. How do I edit it now? Here. So plain base color is what I got here. You can annotate, mask, fill, clone. So I can probably go in and like edit this. It's sort of just like you're applying a thing in there. So I think if you add different colors or streaks in here, like if I do that, I don't know if it updates immediately here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually doing anything. So I guess you make the image and then you save it. I'm not sure, but like we've got something. There's color there. I'm not too worried about dealing with that right now. So now if we do an export, then go to GLTF. We do want to include our materials. I'm guessing it's just going to give us like a PNG or something. You can choose what's actually exporting. We just want to do everything, so we're not going to do any limits. I'm not going to worry about copyright. I think I'm kind of okay with that. So we're going to do a GLB, and I'm going to also do a, oh, this might take a minute. Oh, not too bad. And we're also going to do a GLTF. So there's GLB and GLTF. GLB is the binary version, and GLTF is the like readable version. GLTF separate. GLTF plus bin plus textures. With separate JSON binary and texture data. I'm actually going to do that. We'll give that a try. We'll see what that gives us as far as exports. So we got structure and we got wflange. So we get a bin, a blend, GLB, and GLTF. This blend-1 might be that could be like an autosave. I'm not sure what the blend1 means. But what we're likely going to be looking at is the GLTF or GLB. We don't have too much going on here. So you can see that our tree is not terribly involved. We have a plane. And I'm guessing there's going to be something about an extrusion off of that plane in here. Scene notes, plane, material. Actually, name probably lines up with our collection. Yeah. So I imagine the .bin probably has some of this information about it. Yeah, let's see what it does. Sure. Yeah, okay. And at the bottom here, it's referring to that. So the drawn information about these views, I'm guessing, is what's stored in that bin. Not 100% certain. I think we'll eventually get into more of about how these files are structured, but we've got a file now. So let's see if we can include it in our scene real quick here. We've got our server still running. We've got this up. We did start. We were using a. Did I put that in there? Actually, I might actually just put it in there. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in there. So we've got GLTF, and we had this Triceratops that we had pulled in previously. So we've kind of got a model set up to work with that already. Which is this. And I guess I did commit that. Model is being pulled in via the frame. Which I guess frame also does a canvas. So we're gonna have to move this around a little bit because I don't think we need a bunch of this anymore. But to get this model is a JSX representation of the different pieces of our GLTF. By doing this, we're able to like access different parts of that like GLTF tree, and we can actually like edit the materials or do things or otherwise interact with different pieces of our model. You can see here that the Triceratops model that we had also had animations, which is part of the reason that we picked it. So we could play around with the animations. But this was generated via this library. So go ahead and open this up. And we're going to run that on the thing that we just exported. It is a command via npx, which pulls from the npm package registry and runs this command on the model. So let's go ahead and we'll just go into that folder to make it easy on us running the command. GLTF and structure. So we want to do this command, but instead of using model.gltf, we're going to do it. We're going to do it based off of wflange. And I don't know that. I think you have to do it off of GLTF. And see, like this is part of the reason too. You can only do traversal, restructuring. And this is the reason we can reuse the asset without having to reparse and clone. So not only can we more easily interact with pieces within our model, we can also use this multiple times. And I think that is going to be, as I understand that, it means it's less resource intensive. So let's go ahead and run this. Yes, go ahead and install. And this should give us, oh, that's browser list key instead of browser list. Okay. We're just going to take that out. And we'll just rerun it. I'm not quite sure what it's expecting there. But we're doing that more for parcel. So let's just see what it does. Node modules, yoga layout pre-built. I think, there we go. I think Yoga is one of the layout engines for HTML. All right, so now we've got a JS file. We don't have too much going on. And you can kind of see that here. So if we, I'm going to go ahead and rename that because I like the lower. Well, I mean, I guess it's now a JS file, isn't it? I'm going to go like that. So this is a component, which is why I made it capitalized. This will preload the file when this mounts, auto-generated from this. We don't have any of the copyright information like we do in this model because we didn't add that when we exported, which is fine. I am going to move this file though, and I think we're going to restructure things just slightly. We have an app. So index is the root. Context comes from Twitch. How should we reorganize this? I guess we're going to say make a folder called models. And we're going to, whoop, I put it in assets. Models. This is going to be, we're going to rename this to be Triceratops. I don't know that I'm going to need frame anymore because we have the canvas on the app and we have all of this on the app. I'm going to go ahead and move that in here. Yes, we can update imports. And I'm going to go ahead and move the CSS in there because I think we want that. Global is fine out here because it's being imported here. And we're going to call alerts. And we're going to put our text layer in there. So now we should have app, which is importing frame and text layer. I'm not quite sure why I didn't ask this to like update our paths here, but so app pulls in frame and text layer. We don't. My frame doesn't need the canvas anymore, so we're going to take the canvas out, and that's coming from this anyways, which I think is now in our global. Oh, it's not. So do we need that text layer? It is in this though. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this to a global. We're going to delete the text layer because it's not necessarily, that's setting the view to full. So the canvas, we want to be the full height of the container. And in our app, we have a div where we're setting the actual height. 1080 by 1920 is the size of my stream. So we are making a browser. We're making a div for a browser that represents the exact window where it's going to be put, and then putting our canvas in there. So we want the canvas to be as tall as that container. And I think it's going to dynamically do the width. I don't think we need to worry about that. So we want to now pull classes from, what else is in global? H1 and body. Maybe we don't want to. Maybe we do a canvas. Because the CSS modules, I think, are going to be a little bit different. So we're going to do a canvas.css. We're going to put that in there. We're going to keep our global import, and then we're going to do this canvas dot module dot css. Okay. So now we have app. App is pulling in frame, which comes from here. We don't need frame anymore. Well, I guess we kind of do. Like I guess I don't need the suspense. And we don't really need the models in here either. No, I'm gonna take it all out. I don't think I really care about any of that, because most of it has now moved up to this. So in here we've got our text layers. That's the stuff that you see when you do the command. So if we didn't break anything, I even turned it off. Let's go to start again. So path. We don't have a frame in here right now though, so. It's building a bunch of stuff. We are going to do an import. We've got text layer in here. So let's move our W flange. We need to update this to be it is global. So we can go like this. Assets GLTF structure. And it's referencing the GLTF. So I don't think this GLB is actually going to help us. I'll just go ahead and delete that just to keep the clutter down a little bit. And we shouldn't keep our Blender files in here either, because this assets folder is actually going to be like processed and dropped on the web page. Invalid password. Permission scope. I mean, okay. Okay. Preload. Oh, we need to. I wonder if I could just extract that out into a const. Yeah, well, I'm not certain it'll actually work or not. And you can see here, actually, we do have the material one. I'm not sure where that comes from. I guess it comes directly from there. So it's pulling it through the bin. So we should be able to do import wflange from models wflange. We're going to add the JS on there. That's kind of annoying. Invalid authentication stuff. I might just have to turn that off for the moment. And you can see here we had experimented with physics, but we're not going to do that quite yet. We're just going to drop the flange in there and see what we can see. So we've got to be flange from models. This is pulling in. That all seems correct. So we did delete frame. It's possible that we were setting something extra in the frame when we pulled in the model. Oh, we're just passing in the Twitch fence. So I think it just needs to be within the canvas. And we've got our canvas here. So I think we're probably set. There's definitely something going on a bit funky. So it is not happy with our component here. Okay, so it is the default export. So that is likely the export. I guess I'm fine with the default export there. But that means we need to adjust our import to be using the default. There we go. And I think, do we have the rotation on? No. So I think I'm gonna put in the orbit controls just so we can make it a little bit easier to see it. So I gotta pull in the orbit controls too. That's from dry, which we don't have in here yet. Okay. So now we can orbit it. There we go. We're not really seeing edges or anything. So we might want to play around with materials some. And yeah. So our frame here, if we look at our body, so this is our canvas. So you can see the full canvas now. You can see we can move within there. I thought there was there we go, way to grab it, yeah. So we're gonna have to work on centering it, one. But we can also put in multiple. And I'm not sure I'm kind of curious like what this physics engine is gonna do with it. We're gonna just try it real quick and see what happens. So we'll get rid of this and this. We're gonna move that up in here and we're gonna comment out frame. doesn't, I mean, it seems fine. There's nothing happening, but if we put in multiple, what is that going to do? And we should be able to do this because each one of those components is referencing the same file. We should hopefully get multiple. But it doesn't seem, oh, bounding box stuff. So within the physics, there is, if we look at this, did we just comment it out? I don't remember now. Mesh ref, physics, use box, yep. So we want to do use box, and then we can put it in a box, I think. So React 3 Canon. Grab the docs real quick just to make sure we're not. Web worker, React hooks. Box, plane, sphere, etc. Give it a mass too. So this is what we're going to start with. And then we need to give the object a ref. Then you can interact with it using the API. We can do forces and impulses, okay. I'm not certain if it's going to, okay, plane cube. Okay, so we might be able to actually put this within our model itself. So let's throw it on our model. And we'll see. We don't need physics and we don't need plane. We're just going to do use box. And we do have a ref on this group already, but we're going to also apply ref to our mesh. They fall down forever, which is hilarious. So we're gonna need a plane for it to interact with. Okay. So let's add in a plane. Use plane geometry. I guess I'm gonna put it in the. No, we can put it in the app. We're starting to overload this, but so we need to use plane. We've got the ref in there. We've got plane geometry, and what we are doing is setting a plane is just a. That's actually what we started with to draw this thing. A plane is just a flat surface. So let's go ahead and pull that in here. Use plane. And we're basically just applying a plane, something like that. So now it's got something to sit on, but we are creating 3 of them and they're inside of each other, I think. So they do drop. What the what? I mean, us starting them inside of each other, we're gonna get weird stuff going on here. Yeah. So they're just like flipping out. So I mean, it works. We can probably do something like. So with our text layer, we were using React Spring. React Spring is a way we can do transitions based on properties. One of the properties we can do is changing the scale, which is what we did with the text layer. So this, when we type in the 3D text command, we're drawing it in. Interesting. It did it like 4 lines. That's kind of funky. The item that we're changing, I'm not got all distracted because of that. The item that we're changing, the property that we're changing is the scale. So we're drawing it in, we're starting the scale at 0, and we're increasing the scale and then decreasing it again. And that's how we are interacting with that object in our WebGL or three.js scene. I guess that's a WebGL scene too. The other way we can interact is using the physics. So it's like a separate context. So rather than applying property transitions and shifting things around that way, we can basically wrap it in like a physics engine. And now it has physics also affecting the properties of it. So that's why when we set the mass, it's using the mass to help dictate how that object is going to interact with other objects in this physics space. But you can see here we also setting the position. So what we can do is say position, and we're just gonna I guess we can use this as a default. So if we do this, and we are actually pushing all the props directly in there too. I don't think I want to do that. I think I'm just gonna manually be putting them in. So it's not going to change anything if we do that. And in which case, I'm actually going to start it at 0, 0, 0. It's so funny. I love it. I love it. So now what we can do is we can adjust their starting positions here. So if we do this as a starting position, we can make them all the same, and that's going to be exactly the same as using the default. Seems like sometimes it redraws it and sometimes it doesn't. I don't quite understand what's dictating that. Okay. So we want to adjust, I guess if we say set the Y to all be the same, and we could probably do like 5, well, I guess we can do 0, 5, and 10. So now it's going to put them at different positions in the space, and they shouldn't flip out the moment they are rendered. And you can see here, they are slightly, it's hard to see, like our camera goes through the plane. So I think it's basically sitting on the plane right now, but you can see them, they're standing up in a row. And since we're literally like dropping it and it's kind of just falling down slowly, it just stays. But if we did something like this, I think this is the height. It's either that or the Z, I can't remember. They're coming in. Okay. This is why I like physics engines, because you get some wacky stuff sometimes, which is just hilarious to me. It's just hilarious to me. Let's go ahead and refresh. So not dropping it from as high of a height. So they kind of just settle themselves out. If we then provided it an impulse, we can affect this. We can affect this in physics space. So, and the other thing we can do to get them to run into each other too is, so we can say something like, let's say, one, we'll go like this. So they should overlap slightly. And if we start them at slightly different positions, we'll say maybe 40, 40, 50, 60. I'm not quite sure how tall these are. That's going to be the other thing. There's the units in Blender is meters, which is fine. I mean, we can work in metric. I'm okay with that. There you go. I wasn't paying attention. I gotta zoom out right away. So they're kind of dropping on each other right now. So these values in here, I don't know how they map to the values in Blender. So we're gonna have to check that out a little bit. So let's do something like this. This should definitely give us a staggered drop. So we'll see the one come in. It's gonna go what? And the other one's gonna knock over. We still get a little wonky, but honestly, I kind of don't mind it. And we're gonna have to adjust this for a scene too. So that's the other bit, because which potentially leads to the fact that we've got a text layer in here, but we also have our W flanges in here. So we might actually want two canvases. And I think that's potentially going to be the smart way to do that, because we can have a camera that is configured just for a text layer. So the thing that pops up, we can have that configured nicely. And then we can have a separate configuration for our actual like physics stuff. I think that's probably going to be the way to go. Do we do that now? I guess we can. Let's just copy and paste, and we'll adjust that, and then see if we can get it to show up here. And that might be the stream for today. I'm not sure how these canvases. I don't know if these canvases are going to layer on top. That's the only thing that I'm unsure of. In which case we might need to adjust their position. So we don't need the physics in this one. This is going to be strictly the text layer. And we don't need orbit controls. We do want the light in there still, and we do want the directional light. Here, I think we're going to take out the directional light and the text layers. We'll keep the orbit controls in there in case we needed to move around. And we'll keep the ambient light. So we'll see how these stack. Yeah, so I can tell, yeah. So the canvas is showing up on the lower one. So we want to affect their positions. We're setting the class to canvas here. So we can go into our canvas.module and we can say, what would be the property that we want to change? I guess it's position. So if we do position absolute, I don't remember how to do that. Let's do CSS canvas. I don't do absolute positioning enough. Do I even remember here offhand? Canvas position absolute. Sure, yeah, that works. Position top and left. Okay. So we do position absolute top 0 pixels, left 0 pixels. We can get away with this because we know the exact frame that we're rendering this in. So we don't need to get terribly specific with our CSS. Okay, so it still has position relative. We're applying it to the canvas. Oh, so we are applying it directly to the canvas here. Width, height, style. So it's definitely doing some wrapping. What is the, let's go to three.js. React 3 fiber. Not three.js. Let's go to React 3 fiber docs and look at the values that we can pass into the component. I can set the canvas, resize, children, GL, props that go into the default renderer, shadows, frame loop, pixel ratio, events, flat. So this might not actually be the way to do it. So this will give us the canvas. Let's call it the wrapper. Wrapper. We'll do this. So now we've got a div, which is setting our frame. And then we can say, do div style equals, or class name equals classes.wrapper. And we're basically going to wrap each one of these in this, and this is going to set the position for us. Because it doesn't seem like we can actually affect the position of our canvas here. There we go. So now we got two wrappers. Fortunately, they're small. So I guess we kind of want to do, we're going to pull this out. We're going to make two wrappers. Yeah, posture check in here. We're going to make this a fragment. In React, everything needs to be wrapped in a root element. So we can use a thing called a fragment, which in React is like a fake element that you can use to wrap if you have multiple items. Okay, so I think that should give us, there we go, and there we go. And I don't, like the overlap is definitely going to be interesting. Because right now one is sitting on top of the other. And I don't think there's actually any transparency in this layer. So that's also something that we're going to have to think about. We do want separate cameras. And it's possible that we actually put these on different paths. So we can have multiple URLs, one for the text layer, one for this model layer, and then we, in OBS, have separate sources. each source having its own transparency. That's probably going to be the way to do it. Maybe the easy way to test that would be the way we're drawing it. We're drawing the text first, and then on top of that, we're drawing our model. So if we switch them around, we can likely see the lack of transparency between the two different canvases. And we're not going to be able to even select and rotate because one is on top of the other. Oh, you can see it. Okay. But I can't interact with it. So I think if we would do... I still can't see it here though. Okay. I'm thinking we're probably going to do these in different routes. I think that's going to be the easiest way for me to manage it. But this is fine for now. So we've got our positions, we've got the things coming in. Let's see if we can adjust this camera a little bit. Maybe 25 and 25. A little bit of an angle. That didn't seem to do anything. Let's try a refresh with empty cache. There we go. Okay. Sweet. I think that's probably fine. I suspect that we're going to make this plane not visible. We'll have to play around with it, how it's going to look on when it's a scene up here. It might be... Welcome, Daniel. Thank you for stopping by. Let's go ahead and just refresh our overlay here. So that should hopefully clear the cache. Doesn't seem like it's actually overlaying. I expected to take up like the whole screen, but we're not seeing that. I think I'm gonna play around with that off camera. I don't think that's gonna be. I think it's just an OBS kind of figuring that OBS thing out. But we've got physical objects now. They're coming in and affect each other, so that's pretty sweet. And it's the same asset that we're just using multiple times. The physics is still a little bit wonky on it, but honestly, So, Daniel is saying, and I feel like that's kind of loaded. Like there's many reasons for one to be overwhelmed, especially depending on where you start. So I can completely understand where you're coming from. But why and the answers to improving that for you is going to be very much dependent on you and how and what you want to learn. You're learning C#. Yeah, and I mean, I'm not going to disparage anybody for starting in C or C# or some of those languages. I've found that for me, being able to see things visually helps to give me motivation to learn. Like this, I go, oh, that's really cool, and I want to keep doing more stuff. I'm also very interested in Node and backend kind of stuff. So like a command line works well for me. I can get a fast feedback loop. Python and Lua you've also tried. the thing that I think is potentially a generalized recommendation for somebody starting new is to pick something that you're interested in, like a project that you're interested in, not necessarily language specific, but pick a project that you're interested in and make sure it's something that has a fast feedback loop. So you change a thing, you want to be able to see that thing immediately and like see it change and see how you can affect it. I would say that Python was probably my quote unquote first true language. I did a lot of other things prior to that, but Python is where I actually like sat down and really wanted to learn coding. So you're looking at doing game development. Okay. Yeah, most of my background is in web dev type things. So as far as game dev goes, I'm not probably the best person to ask about that. But there are there are game dev engines. So it might be a thing where, depending on what you're interested in game dev, it might make sense to learn some Blender first. You can get some modeling in, you can see what it looks like, and then start pulling that into different game engines. There's some proprietary based ones like the Unity engine, and there's also some open source ones that will likely require some programming. Godot, I think, is C# or Python, and I think it also has Rust bindings. And I know I've used Rust with Bevy, which is a game engine written for Rust. I don't remember what Unity is based off of, but some of these also you can do. The game engines you don't necessarily need to drop right into code right away. So I would definitely narrow down on the thing that interests you and like focus on getting small wins there. Because if your goal is to make a game, I'm going to be honest, take a long time to get to that point. Yeah. So like get the quick wins, get the fast feedback loop. If it's something that you can like show off to friends and family, those like small milestones, those incremental wins, if you can show it off to people, like I've found that definitely helps in the keeping the motivation high. So yeah, exactly. Small wins. Get a small scope, do a small thing, get a good win, get those dopamine hits, and keep at it. So this project specifically, I've been wanting to mess around with WebGL more, and there's other things that feed into that, like the Blender for modeling. And every stream, we kind of just figure out a win that we want to hit, and we work towards that. So today, I think we pretty much hit it at this point. Made a thing in Blender. Pretty simple object. Exported it, put it into a WebGL scene. And I wasn't planning on doing it, but we got the physics engine working, which we had kind of started on in a previous stream. But drop it in there, and yeah, doesn't look super realistic, but I'm calling this a win. So you did a random dice roll game. Yeah. I think that's the way to do it. It's just get those small wins. Are you interested in the modeling aspect of it all? I mean, it also comes into you kind of end up going down one or two paths. Like 2D tends to be a different type of like skill set to learn versus 3D. I don't know that either one is more difficult than the other. I have had experience modeling and doing 3D work, which is why I tend towards doing the 3D stuff right away. It's easy for me now to think in 3D space. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, part of the like having the quick wins and being able to show it to friends and family, getting involved in communities. So I personally really enjoy writing Rust, and a big part of that is the community behind Rust is incredibly welcoming, and it's easy to find resources that I can use to teach myself. So part of being able to do something and make something is being able to show it off to a community, and like be a part of a community. And that's where like I think it comes back to the if you work in public, you can do a thing and show people what you did and give feedback from that. I'm not going to guarantee that it's always going to be good, constructive, or thoughtful, or nice feedback. But just having people that you can talk to that are also interested in this, that I think that does well for the motivation as well. So kudos to you. Keep having at it. There's plenty of web devs that or game devs that stream in here too. So pick up things from them. But so as far as this project goes, I think we pretty much hit everything that we wanted to hit on today. Is there anything else that's worth doing? We got the GLTF into our scene with physics. I kind of want to do potentially more. Let's see if I can stack a couple of these. I kind of want to do. I don't know the sizes, so we might need to play around with it a little bit. But if I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, and I don't know if I can do rotations either. But let's stack 2 on 2, and then maybe I can get a beam that goes across. So if we've got, maybe we'll say 5. I don't know how tall these are, and I probably should have paid attention to that. So we want the same x and y, I guess x and z, and then the y would be the height that it's coming in at. So we have one coming in at, we have one coming at 15 and one at 5. Let's try that. We'll see what that looks like. Well, they're inside of each other. And I think that's where some of this physics gets a little bit wonky. If they're inside of each other, I think it's, we basically have a box on the outside of this thing. What? I think we basically have a box on the outside of this thing. So like, we get the physics happening when they collide. So you have these bounding boxes, and when they run into each other, that's where you see the physics. If you start them inside of each other, I think things just get real wonky. Technical term there, wonky. Okay, so they did eventually fall over. They are actually coming in and just immediately falling on each other. What if we just bounce this up to 35 and drop them from slightly higher? And we'll have to work on the physics engine and part of it a little bit. I think what we're going to end up doing on stream 2, or doing for the stream, is kind of have 2D, but have like a 2D looking mountain that's like yay thick. Make a structure. We can do it like on the side here. but it can then interact in 3D. So like it could fall off towards or away from the screen too. Yeah, so it definitely does that. So I mean, we could adjust the camera. So we have adjusted the camera to where we're back 25 and 25 and going up. So I guess if we do something like 0, and we don't want to do any height, but we want to back up. I don't know if X or Y is going to be the right answer here, but so the way we have them drawn, I guess we want to and we might end up putting the origin of this in like the bottom left of the scene. So, yeah, okay. Weird that it didn't throw in. I guess there was a reactor. Is that it? No. Oh. That's a heck of a view. Okay, so we've rotated up above them. So I guess I want to do it in here. I think this is going to be the hardest thing, is Blender XYZ to React 3 fiber scene XYZ. Keeping track of that, I think, is going to be difficult. Yeah. So like this is something that we could then basically put like on the corner. We could kind of do like a Angry Bird style thing or something. It's going to be kind of fun. But it's eventually going to tip over, and it should tip over away or towards the screen. They're getting jiggly. They're getting jiggly. So I think we end up doing something like that. There we go. I think that's going to be the hardest thing, is this as an overlay is sort of inherently a 2D thing. So trying to figure out how to like incorporate that 3D into the 2D that we're seeing, that's going to be, we'll have to think about that a little bit. But so I think we've pretty much hit on everything that's we're going to get to today. Next time, what should we do next time? What is that? Why is that showing up twice? I mean, go for it. Go to both, but I must have some like weird nested scenes, something around going on there. Yeah, so what do we do next time? I guess we could potentially do additional elements to drop them into this scene. And we can maybe do something where, like an element that we can chuck, do physics, shoot a thing at another thing. And we're going to have to figure out how we want to incorporate that into like a channel point redemption. When you do a channel point redemption, you can put values in. But I think that's going to be kind of hard to like reasonably prompt people to do that. I mean, obviously people that have come by the stream and have seen people prior to them do it, you think you missed it. Should we flip back real quick? We were just trying to decide what we should do on the next stream. We in Blender made a column, I guess. Dropped it into 3.js scene. Just start over, yeah. Dropped it into the scene. We've got physics. Some of the physics is a little bit goofy. they're now multiple beams or columns, I guess, inside of each other, and they will eventually tip over. But we want to put this into our scene. We've got, assume we didn't break it here, 3D text overlay. But we also want to put that model into a 3D scene, or into an overlay. So we're trying to figure out how to take that and encapsulate it into a channel point redemption. It could be where we like make this, the gray here is a plane, which all the other physics things can interact with. It may be that we like put the plane just along, bumping my mic here, along the ground or along the bottom of the scene, and we just drop these things in. And they'll fall in like 3D space. So like that's actually not the worst. We can have a couple different models that we drop in. And then you would, as part of the channel point redemption, you specify a number with some reasonable maximum. I could see that. That might be the easiest one. Drop that in. Is my camera blinking? Can you all see that, or is it just like, am I glitching? So yeah, maybe it is. Okay, all right. I've been noticing it in meetings all day today. I don't know. I might have to restart my computer here. It's a Friday. Whatever. So I think that's what we do. Channel point redemption. Make a couple models. We just drop them in. They do physics things. And as part of the redemption, you specify like a number or the models and or the models. And that's probably the easiest win. And we can just keep going from there. As we get like channel point redemptions, and I get that all hooked up correctly, because apparently like, this, yeah, I just did a channel point redemption that you can't see up there, but it's not working. So I got to figure out what I broke that it's not working. The commands work. I must have not wired it all up. So yeah, I think as we get all that wired up, maybe just to drop things in, do the physics thing, it's probably the first big win. And as people use it and see it, I think we're just naturally going to come up with new ideas to try. So I think that's how we're going to go with it. We'll probably bounce back to other topics too. I want to potentially do some Tari app stuff here to well, I don't know. That's sort of open to decision still. But I definitely want to do some more Tari stuff. I don't know if we can do too much more right now other than explore. But I would kind of like to do, maybe as part of this Twitch scene stuff, have some way to like interact with it via an app. I mean, it could be an app or maybe even like a website or something. So rather than just typing in the text, I guess over there now. Ooh, there we go. Rather than just typing in the text, we could have a website where you can interact with too. So ideas. We'll see. We'll see what we come up with. But I think next time we do some model-y stuff, physics, drop it into the scene, I'll make sure to get that all wired up beforehand, and that'll be our first channel point redemption. That uses GLTF models. Technically, we've got the text stuff that's not working, but c'est la vie. All right, well, thanks for stopping by. Frackberg and Daniel. And if anybody else is around, thanks for stopping by. Happy Friday. We will see you next week. Same time, same bat place. Is that still a thing? Do they still do that? It was like old Batman, wasn't it? Yes. Happy Friday. Have a good weekend. We will see you next time. Bye.